Hello everyone, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about two tropical storms that are spinning in the Atlantic Ocean right now and what threats they could pose to any land masses sometime down the road. Of course, we have Tropical Storm Philippe and Tropical Storm Rina, which was kind of like 91L that I did talk about in one of my most recent videos. So we're going to talk about the latest with those two and where they're going next. So be sure to stick around for this video. Of course, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell notifications so you do not miss another upload, and we're just going to get right into it here. All right, so here we have the two tropical systems that are, again, very close to each other. We have Philippe and Rina down here. Now, the way I'm going to do this video is I'm going to basically do Philippe. We're going to look at the modeling for it and then and all the mapping for it. And I'm going to look at Rina just after that. And we'll also look at some models that do combine, right, that have both storms in it so we can kind of see them next to each other. So we're going to cover all of it here in today's video. Starting with the one that's theoretically closer to land, which is Philippe, which currently has, as of the 5 o'clock update, which just came out, winds of 50 miles an hour, central pressure, minimum central pressure of 1,002 millibars, and a very slow west-southwest movement of 5 miles an hour. And both of these storms have had a ton of changes to their cone with the National Hurricane Center. Like it's like one update, it's moving to the north out to sea. The next, it was Philippe is now moving into the Caribbean. Now it's going to move north again. There is so much uncertainty because both these systems are moving at a snail's pace here. All right, so here is Philippe. Again, 50-mile-an-hour winds. It is currently getting sheared a little bit. Of course, you can also tell that we have the tropical storm force winds pretty much only on the eastern side of the storm system. It's really not wrapping around, not strengthening all that much. But they're both sitting in some warm waters, right? And if we look, you can see, again, 50-mile-an-hour winds. It will strengthen up to 60, 65 as we head into, say, like Saturday, right? Saturday, Sunday. And you can continue to see 70-mile-an-hour winds could hold even through October 3rd and into the 4th. Right, but it will pretty much move in this fashion to the west-southwest and then kind of make a turn to the north. It's the latest thinking by the National Hurricane Center, right? And you can see, again, very close to Puerto Rico and, say, like the Lesser Antilles, for example. If we take a look here at the tropical storm force wind probabilities, you can see, again, looking like it's possible for the northern Lesser Antilles Islands, but it's like it's a 5 to 10% chance. That's basically what the dark green represents. So a pretty small chance here, but could of course get some outer rain bands, and of course we'll be certainly getting the rip currents and the rough surf even, and that will be certain up towards Bermuda as well should the storm come up that way. If we take a look here again, you can kind of see some 45 knots, 1,002 millibars of pressure, satellite imagery, which we're going to take a look at right now. So you can kind of see it right here on a satellite imagery. Now you might be thinking, well, wait a second, it looks like it's moving to the east. It does look like that, but again, that is because of the wind shear. So you can see some blowing up convection, no, for sure, because of course warm water, a very moist atmosphere, right? Those thunderstorms are really able to blow up. But you can kind of notice, and you'll see it better on the visible satellite, but you will see kind of where the center is. Okay, so why everything's kind of disconnected here. So you'll see that right here on the visible satellite. So this is just fascinating. Now, this is just in time because the visible satellite is running out as I speak. But you can see, again, the blow up of thunderstorms, but look at this cute little center right there. It kind of just, it's moving to the west, it just drops, and then that's pretty much it. It moves west, and then it just starts moving due south. Like, that is the center of the storm there. Of course, west and then south, ergo a west-southwest movement, or southwest movement. Very interesting, because that is the center of the storm, and even though, right, that's a good thing about seeing these storms when they're disorganized, kind of like this. You can see like the little swirly, like you can see where the center is pretty nice, right? It's not trapped under a bed of thunderstorms, if you will. All right, so that is where the center is on the visible satellite. Low position currently, but this was as of 2 o'clock. So I mean, not that it's moving much anyway, but 56 degrees west and about 18 degrees to the north. All right, here's the model track guidance here, and you can see, again, looking very uncertain. I just want to say, like, usually models within, like, say 2, 3, 4 days out, you usually got it, right? And then after 3 days, let's say, they start disagreeing. This is crazy because all these model tracks anywhere from here to here in 72 hours out. Like, it could go over here, it could go over here. Like, none of the models seem to know. All right, so this track is, again, because of the slow movement and the weird change in direction, this cone is massive, right? The size of the National Hurricane Center cone will pretty much always be the same, but if you want to really look at the cone, look at what these models are saying, right? You can really see usually, right, a cone is narrow and then it gets wider as time goes on, kind of something like this, right? Not this one. This one's just wide all the time because no one knows where this storm system is going. All right, if we take a look at the GEFS model tracks, they seem to have somewhat of an idea, right? Kind of start move west southwest for a little bit more and then kind of move north. But some models go west, and if that were the case, Lesser Antilles, I'd be prepared for some minor impacts. But pressure will be dropping, the storm will be strengthening. General consensus is anywhere between 960 and 980 millibars of pressure, so it could even get up to, say, like a weak Category 1 hurricane. GEPS model track's not making it as strong, but you will notice is that they take it further west, right next to the islands, so they could get some a little bit more rain and wind impacts. Some tracks actually even take it over Puerto Rico and the Lesser Antilles before taking it to the north, pretty much just scraping by Bermuda, and then it moves off to like the north and east. All right, so those are kind of like your models there. Intensity guidance actually seems quite in agreement that we will have some sort of hurricane, whether it be a Cat 1 or a Cat 2. A lot of models actually bring it up into that territory. All right. But of course, at the National Hurricane Center, right, their cone only goes out about 5 days or so to about here. But even the models in 5 days are calling for a Cat 1 or 2 hurricane. Yeah, the National Hurricane Center was certainly not calling for that. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but just seems to be a little bit of a disagreement there with the modeling in the National Hurricane Center. A couple have it staying a tropical storm. A couple even have it being a Category 3 major hurricane. All on the table as of right now. All right, let's take a look at the HWRF model. The storm on the left here is Philippe, and that's the one that's going to be honing in on here. So you can kind of see it just sits there, and it just sits and spins, right? This is 60 hours later. This is like 2.5 days out. It hasn't moved an inch. And so this thing's really going to be, if you think it's slow now, it's going to be slowing down really to a snail's pace. And then it's going to continue moving to the north. As you can see right there, once it kind of sits around, stalls around, eventually what will happen is, I accidentally rewind it a little bit. You can see eventually this upper level low, if you will kind of swoop down and say, all right, buddy, you're coming with me. And then it kind of just takes it up to the north. Kind of same thing happens with Rina, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, so essentially it finally gets rescued by this upper level low pressure system. And then you can see it just kind of just takes it and slingshots it. And then you can see Philippe moving off to the north and east. Again, it's amazing how everything in weather it's kind of connected, right? What the upper level trough all the way up in Canada the Bermuda High, hundreds of miles away, can steer a storm that is hundreds of miles away. It's still a pretty fascinating thing. All right, next we're going to look at Rina here. So that model I just showed you was the HWRF. We're going to show Rina, then the HWRF model for Rina, and then finally a couple global models to finish off the video that will kind of capture both storms in the frame. All right, so we're going to take a look here at Rina. A little bit weaker, 45-mile-an-hour winds, but still gusting to 60. Pressure is about the same, 1,003 millibars, and is moving to the north and west. This one was initially supposed to get stronger. It's pretty much at its peak strength as of now. It's probably going to weaken from here. Again, like with Philippe, it's left behind some cooler water because Philippe is just sitting there stirring up water, and it's leaving behind, of course, it's dealing with the same shear that Philippe is, because Philippe is pretty much over here, and then Rina's over here, so pretty much dealing with the same environmental conditions, but Philippe will eventually move into a better environment over here where it could further strengthen. But Rina will probably, because it's kind of left behind, it's got like the leftovers, it's going to kind of just weaken here. You can see, here we go, if you look 45 miles an hour, it will hold that probably through, at least according to the National Hurricane Center, tomorrow afternoon, maybe even into Sunday before we get into a tropical and then a post-tropical depression. Maybe, again, these two storms combined maybe because there's two storms, it could probably provide some additional wave energy for places like Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and the Lesser Antilles. But even for like a place like Bermuda, I wouldn't even say you're going to get much out of this. Although these storms could get kind of close, right? We have Bermuda here, but then the storm's going to be coming up like this. So not much impacts from Rina. Rina's pretty much just going to continue over the ocean, fizzle out, and die. If we take a look here at the arrival time, tropical storm force winds, again, not really over any land mass. You can see, again, 40 knots of wind, 1,003 millibars of pressure. If we take a look at on the satellite, again, another little disorganized one, so you can see the center. Pretty good on the infrared satellite. Usually you don't see it as well as you do on the visible, but you certainly do see it. And you can see all the convection, just really not much there kind of left of it. If we take a look at the visible satellite, all right, which is, again, running out from, it kind of just, the darkness just swoops in this way from east to west. So you can see, again, the center is right there. Looks good on the visible, but it's just it looks good because there's just clouds, right? All the convection, again, is getting kind of blown off this way. Although there was a last second blow up, a nice blow up of thunderstorms there, east of the center. If we can maybe pick that up on the infrared. Yeah, last second there, blow up a thunderstorm. So, of course, these again do tend to, these tropical systems do tend to have a greater probability to strengthen at night, a little bit more instability. But probably not really going to happen. Much is going to happen with Rina here. Low position, 47.5 degrees west and 20 degrees north. Again, model tracks taking it to the north and west here. GEFS. There is still a chance that this could continue more on a westward path as opposed to turning to the north and east, but I don't think it would matter anyway because I think this is just going to weaken. You can see GEPS model tracks there. Model intensity guidance, again, pretty much staying at tropical storm or weaker within the next 3 days. Although some models do kind of forecast its comeback. A couple of them do. I wouldn't say, I mean, they're probably outliers. But there are a few that do it. It's not just like it's one crazy model, so it's definitely something to take a note of here. But again, both need to be watched closely because both will be delivering indirect, if you want to call it indirect impacts, right? No direct rain and wind, but wave and rough surf, of course, for the Caribbean and even Bermuda. Should Rina stay alive long enough for that to happen. We take a look at the H-war for Rina. You can see it kind of just moves off ahead of Philippe. So Philippe's like, okay, you go first. So it also gets picked up by that same upper level low. You can see Philippe, that's the one. This is not Rina. This is Philippe here. Rina's here, and it kind of just pretty much gets eaten by the upper level low, and then eventually Philippe kind of just runs it over. You can see it just pretty much just passes it and says bye. And then that's pretty much the end of Rina there. You can see what's left of it right here. So that's Rina moving up to the north and east. But both of these, do not discount them yet, because especially if you live, say, in parts of Western Europe, like, you know, Spain, United Kingdom, Iceland, all you guys could be potentially, you know, in line. These storms, when they race off to the north and east like this, I believe Nigel was the last one to do it. And of course, you know, these could impact Europe. So if you're in Europe, if you happen to be watching this from Europe, hi, how are you? But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for these tropical systems because they could certainly go in your direction. And they do tend to, especially the ones that make that northward curve. All right, so let's take a look here at the last three models of the video. We have the GFS model here. You can see again, Rina pretty much just dies, and then Philippe kind of just treks off to the north and east, and the GFS actually goes out further so you can kind of see it. Kind of goes near the Azores there, and then kind of just flies to the north, south, and east, strengthens, weakens, strengthens again, and just kind of sits over the Atlantic. Pretty much wherever the steering currents take it. All right, so that's the GFS model. We have the European model, which shows something interesting because it has Philippe just sitting there near the Caribbean, which is why, again, I said do not discount these systems because Philippe is now sitting right next to the islands 60 hours out. Some models didn't have the same thing happening. But again, Rina is pretty much just right here, little blip, right? Little blip left of it. And then eventually, once Philippe kind of moves over, if not right next to the islands, it pretty much moves to the north near Bermuda, and then kind of treks towards Newfoundland and St. John's there. All right, so that is the European model, and our final model for today is the Canadian model, which also has Philippe kind of just sitting right there in the Caribbean, and you could get some direct rain and wind impact should this happen. Okay, so if you're wondering why I said, you know, stay till the end, now you know why, because these systems, different modeling, of course, shows, of course, different solutions, and we certainly could have Philippe making a direct impact here for the Northern Caribbean islands. Two places that have the best chance, Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. And you can see Rina, again, all models seem to agree that it's just going to get probably wrapped up in like a mid-latitude low-pressure system and kind of just race off to sea. And then, of course, you got Philippe, which is also moving, kind of just lags right behind it. All right, so that is Tropical Storms of Philippe and Rina. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. Of course, stay tuned for more tropical updates, of course, as well as some more seasonal updates. Of course, we definitely got a lot of months ahead. You know, we got autumn and then we got winter coming up, so definitely stay tuned for all the forecasts on those and any potential tropical system or winter storm, can't believe I'm saying that, that could come down the line. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.